What's going on, full battery pack? We back. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to maximize your charging status and not only just a Tesla, but in an EV altogether. And now here today, it's a Thursday. I'm in a weird place in the middle of the week, but I've been trying to get my battery to the state for the sakes of, say, a video. And that's, I was trying to get the battery down to a super low state of charge. And right now, as you saw, we're at about 9%. Right now, we're at about a 9% state of charge. No big deal. Again, being that I have charging options that wouldn't leave me stranded or say without any battery or without any energy, more specifically. So I kind of wanted to wait till I can make a video out of this and talk about, one of the benefits to owning an EV. Again, not just a Tesla, but just an electric vehicle altogether. And it's something I had talked about in the first video on this channel, and that was one of the prime benefits to owning, again, not just a Tesla, but an EV altogether, and that's being able to take advantage of free fuel or free charging where you can. And in that video, right, I had talked about being able to say, use your local libraries or whatever resource that you may have in your area. For me, and some of the counties or the surrounding states where I'm located here on the East Coast, the public libraries, which are free to charge at, and there's no charging limit, and so you can do it on off days of off hours where the library is closed, is can save you a lot of money. Although supercharging isn't all that expensive, and it is cheaper to charge at your house. Supercharging being a quick solution and a more cost effective versus gas. Charging at a library, though, has its pros and cons. The biggest pro being that, well, it's no cost to you. And there's other things you can do at the library. So while I'm here at charging at the library, I'll either work on some future YouTube videos for one of the channels, or I'll be inside of the library catching up on some older comic books that I haven't read in a while. And I have about 2 good books that I'm currently going through right now that's going to help educate me to be a better creator, better in my finances, and to understand electric vehicles even more, so that, again, I could help you or anybody who's potentially watching who might be on the fence in terms of picking up an EV. Again, not just a Tesla, but an EV altogether. Quite naturally, I would recommend a Tesla. I recently picked up a Tesla Model 3, a 2019 used Tesla Model 3, and that's part of the story or journey on this channel. And that is, defining the experience to see if it's worth it for others to go ahead and make the leap. Again, Tesla is in a weird place at a brand. I made a community post about it. I responded to some comments on that video and briefly touched on it in said video. Tesla is a weird place as a brand, but you as a consumer, you have the right to make whatever purchases you find financially feasible for your situation. But again, for this video, we're going to talk about free fuel, and that's how to maximize, keeping your battery at a good state of charge. Right now, I pulled up to my local library here in my county. I'm at a 9% state of charge. And so we're going to go ahead, jump out of here. I've already preconditioned the battery on my way here just to make charging a little faster. But we're going to go ahead, jump in and jump right into it, because there are a few things you should know when it comes to charging, say, at a free resource like a library. Let's jump into it. But if you haven't yet, help us grow this channel. Hit the subscribe button down below with the notification bell turned on so you can catch future community tab posts, future shorts, future live streams, and of course, future videos. So if you haven't yet, hit the like button for me on this video and subscribe to the Full Battery Pack community so we can maybe help you, make that leap and transition over to the world of owning an electric vehicle. And now in that first video, we talked about the different levels of charging. And just know, the higher the level, the shorter the charge time, for sakes of simplicity here, okay? But you have level 1, level 2, and level 3. Again, the higher the level, the shorter the charge time. This is why Tesla superchargers, it makes the most sense, especially if you're on a road trip or you're pressed for time, because, getting from a low state of charge, say 10 to even 20, and you're trying to hit that 80% peak, can be achieved depending on the load at the Tesla superchargers, your particular model, and what have you. There's other factors, but for the most part, you can expect at least somewhere between 60 kilowatts to up to 150 and sometimes even higher, depending where you are. The highest I've seen at my Tesla supercharger is about 115, 120 kilowatts. So that charge time was super short. It took me from like a 10% state of charge to like 85% state of charge. And I was there for all of 15, 20 minutes. I went to the Wawa, ordered some food. Again, I sat outside the car, ate, got caught up on some YouTube stuff. And by the time I looked up, I had about 7-8 minutes left, and that just kind of flew by once I watched the video or continued to read my book that I always keep with me. But here at this library, we are utilizing a level 2 charger, and being that it's not a Tesla supercharger, we have to use the adapter. Now, again, I was fortunate enough to have my adapter come with this car. That's not always the case. I also have my mobile connector there in the back. I have my mobile connector, and this came with it. I believe it's a Gen 1 mobile connector, so it's not, you know, it's not prime, but in an emergency situation or in a pinch, I can add some quick range so I can get to a supercharger or even get here to the library. But you will need this adapter to charge at non-Tesla superchargers. You can find it on eBay right along with a mobile connector should you find a Tesla that doesn't have one. But if you want to charge at the library, you're going to need this bad boy here. So we're going to jump out of the car, plug it up, show you the speed, how long it's going to take to charge. I won't be here for the full duration, but just to give you an idea how much range I was able to gain or miles I was able to gain just by sitting here at the library reading a book. You know, might be here for an hour or so, but you know, it's worth it being that I can do other things to maximize that time while I'm charging. But I can do other things, right? I can read, I can, you know, work on some social media, plan some YouTube videos. I mean, the time just flies. But I won't be able to hit my normal state of charge, which is about 85%. I know they say 80 for daily, but I'd like to hit that extra little 5% because I'm going to lose some range leaving the supercharger. So to get back to my house with about an 80-81%, I usually charge to about 85. And I also will say there seems to be at least 1 to 2 other cars here out of the 4 stalls. So that shouldn't affect the charge time because you simply tend to get up to 6 kilowatts at this particular library. The other library that's a little further from here that I did try, we got about half those kilowatts. So I typically try to stick to this one. But a good general rule of thumb is that at a Tesla superchargers, the more vehicles that are there, though that could affect your charge time or your rate time and how fast it takes you to charge. But I don't think that'll really be the case here. It's only 4 stalls. Another EV owner just pulled up, and it looks like a Ford, looks like a hybrid or something like that. But somebody else just pulled up, so that really shouldn't affect our charge time, or in theory anyway. But let's find out. Before we jump out, I'm going to go ahead and open the charge port. If you're at a Tesla supercharger, then you can also do it here, and as you can see, it's pretty cool, but it shows you a little animation that it's gone ahead and popped up and open. So now that we got our charge port open, we're going to go ahead and jump out and connect the adapter. All right, so we have our adapter. I'm going to go ahead and get out here. Close that. Our charge port was open. Okay. Let's go ahead and open that back up. Must have closed and open. Okay. So we have our connector here. We're going to put the adapter latches on, plug in, wait for it to go blue to green, which means we're good, which means we're charging. All right, we're gonna jump back here, and I stand corrected. So right now we're getting about 4 kilowatts, not quite the 6 I mentioned. So those other 2 cars, well, there it goes. We just jumped back up. We just peaked up to 6. So right now we're getting 6 kilowatts. It's saying 5 hours. Quite naturally, of course, we won't be here that long. It's saying 5 hours, but that's to charge up to 83%. But could you imagine if you were home and you had that extra time to kill? Like if you had level 2 charging available at your crib and you could just pull up to your driveway, plug your Tesla wall connector into the wall, or your Gen 2 connected to like a 5-20 socket, and you can achieve faster race speeds closer to the 6 kilowatts that we're getting now. That 5 hour, those 5 hours really is enough. And I mean, that can be done before you even possibly go to bed. You can also schedule the charge time. So if you didn't want to stay charging and you only wanted to hit a certain limit. So right now I have it set to what, an 83% limit charge. And if I were at home, if I was charging like level 2 charging at home, I would just have it set to 83% and just leave it plugged in overnight. And then I would wake up to a damn near full battery. And charging at home is definitely less expensive than charging at a supercharger, being that, well, Tesla has to profit from the kilowatt hours they charge their customers. But in your home, it's a typically lower rate than would be at a Tesla charger. So if you're at like 15 or 20 cents per kilowatt hour or per kilowatt, Tesla might be somewhere at like 25 cents, so that they can actually have a profit line. But of course, that's persona non grata for you. So that extra time to charge would maybe at your house cost you maybe $5 to $6 at most to hit that 80% charge. And that's something I wouldn't even have to do a whole lot, but the option is definitely there. But all right, we're charging. Again, we're charging at 6 kilowatts. We're not going to hit our 83%. I just don't have that much time to be here. I do have to pick up Kim here in a little while, about an hour and a half. So that's how long we're going to charge. For about an hour and a half. We're at 10%. Again, we pulled up at 9%. This is at no cost, free charging, free fuel. One of the benefits, again, to owning an EV is that you can, go to your libraries or go to free sources and charge for free, rather that be a restaurant or a hotel. If you're a student, going to the library could be super beneficial for you, because you can charge your electric vehicle and work on your studies all at the same time. So I'm going to let this do this thing. I'm going to run into the library. I'm going to read a little bit, check out some different things, and we'll come back here in about an hour and a half to see where we are. One of the cool things about Tesla is that I can actually control a lot of things from the mobile app, and a dedicated video is coming on that alone here, I promise you. So again, subscribe with the notification bell turned on if you haven't yet. If you have, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Also, like this video if you haven't. Okay, shameful plugs out the way. The mobile app, super helpful, and it really makes you feel like you're with your Tesla even when you're not, if that makes sense. So I can do things like extend the charge limit. I can stop charging and those things, check the state of charge and how fast we're charging, all those things from the app. So I don't have to come back out to the car. I'm going to just go ahead and give little mini updates right from inside the library. So I'm going to go ahead, jump in, and we will come back and see what we got. All right, and so I reached my charge time, and actually what's about to die is my cell phone, so I kind of had to wrap it up. I had to leave at 6 o'clock, but as you can see, going from about 8. All right, so set change number 2. I was running into some minor complications with my phone charger, so I had to wait till I got back to the home base here to finish this video out properly. I apologize now for the rough cuts and edits in between, but just to do a quick recap, we were able to achieve a state of charge from 8% to about 27 to 28%. Not bad. Again, we gained about some 20% battery charge, and that was about 15 to 20 miles. So again, free fuel. Doesn't hurt because it cost me nothing but my time. And as you could see, I had some pretty good reading material to get me through that quick hour and a half. It was only an hour and a half. So imagine if you were able to, say, be at the library a little longer, or you went there at an earlier time of the day, and you could stay for 3-4 hours, and you can achieve an even higher state of charge. And again, this is all at no cost. So again, the experiment was a little rough. We will be back for full charging at the library and some other, tips and little mini tricks I have for charging at the library. But I will top off and charge properly at a supercharger, likely some point today, tomorrow, because what I achieve will, get me through tonight and even tomorrow, but I would like to take you along for the Tesla supercharging experience when we're at a low state of charge, like 20%, which will be somewhere about there, somewhere where we were today when we pulled up at the library. And again, that was on purpose. It's not recommended to take your battery down to a state of charge that's under 20%. It's kind of like equivalent to a gas tank. You want to keep your gas tank with at least a half a tank of gas, and don't let it get under a quarter tank or even at a quarter tank. Same thing kind of works for your battery. You want to stay above 20% whenever you can, and the battery is best optimized when it's hovering somewhere between 30 to 60%, 30 to 50%, somewhere along the lines there. Again, it all depends on your driving habits, cabin preferences, whether you like it super cold in the summertime or super hot in the wintertime, heated steering wheel, heated seats, all of those things, play a factor. So that's just something to take in mind, something to consider. But at 6 kilowatts, hour and a half, we gained about 20% state of charge. And it's something I do quite regularly, as it's my mission to read more here in 2025. It's also my mission to help you with your electric vehicle journey, rather that be in a Tesla or something else. So again, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below with the notification bell turned on. Like this video if you haven't yet, and I do hope to catch you on the next one. So until then, be easy.